This is the conference by conference mock draft series, one conference at a time, focusing on the players. This time we're looking at the Big Ten, fantasy football relevant positions, 2 rounds. We'll go 1 through 12 first round, then 2-1 through 2-12 in the second round. Starting at the top, 101, QB Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, arguably the top quarterback in the draft class, so he goes 101. Steady performer, probably profiles more as your QB2 for fantasy purposes, but he's reliable, and having a startable QB is very important, especially in superflex formats. Strong finish to the season and a playoff run could bolster this position even more. But right now, Mendoza 101. 102, I have wide receiver Elijah Sarratt from Indiana. I know this is a controversial take. A lot of people don't have Sarratt in their top 3 or 4 receivers, but I have him as my favorite receiver right now. Even though he's missed the last couple of games, I think he's a nightmare to cover. Textbook route runner, gets open. Um, Top tier ball winner on the outside. He has the potential to be a volume sponge at the next level. Get first downs. Can't hard to take him off the field. 103 wide receiver Makai Lemon from USC. It's going to be a run of receivers here. Lemon has taken over as the clear number 1 in the USC passing offense and is among the toughest players at the position in the country. He plays hard, and I think he'll be like a culture setting kind of guy in a locker room. There are some concerns about his size, listed at 5'11", 190, but as long as he's a legit 5'11" and not a 5'11" that's actually 5'9", I think he's a lock to be a first round pick at this point. 104, wide receiver Carnell Tate from Ohio State. The Big Ten is deep with wide receivers, and Tate is no different. The classic Ohio State receiver. Big guy on the outside, 6'3". He's smooth, great body control, great hands. Coming into the season, I had him classified, my note on him was I think he's good at everything, but I don't know what he's great at. And I think coming into this year, he's become great at just about everything. So he's kind of elevated his game in all areas, and I think he's ready for the next level, and that's why he's at 104. 105, running back Jonah Coleman from Washington. Big Jonah has been one of my favorite players, even going back to his Arizona days. He's a big bowling ball running back, good pass catching chops. He hasn't been as good these last couple of weeks as the season wears on. I don't know if he's wearing down or if Washington's chances in the season have sort of limited his opportunity, but I think the talent is there for him to be a 2-down bruiser, a 3rd-down back. I think he's versatile enough that he'll get an opportunity at the next level. 106, running back Justice Haynes from Michigan. Haynes and Coleman are kind of 1A, 1B in terms of Big Ten running backs for me. But I think Haynes, for me, it's just because he plays behind that Michigan O-line and the holes are big and open. And last year he played at Alabama, so I don't know what he's going to look like when things are a little bit muddier potentially at the next level. But that said, if he's got a crease, he's taken off. Haynes is a big play, home run hitter. To get him to the second level, he's off to the races. Not a whole lot to complain about or dislike about Justice Haynes, other than he's been injured for the second half of this season. So he may be one that goes back to school. But I think if he's in the draft, he'll be taken either probably into the first round. Probably not a first round, but definitely a second round pick. 107, tight end Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon. Sadiq, still a little bit of a projection for me just because the production is inconsistent. His most recent game, as of this recording, they were playing against Minnesota. He had 8 catches for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he was doing that every week, he'd be up there at the top with Mendoza. An NFL team is going to love the athleticism. They're going to love the fight, and I think he's capable as a blocker and a freak athlete. So he's a little bit undersized for a tight end, but I don't think the undersized tight ends have been a problem in the NFL recently. Offensive coordinators have gotten these guys and figured out what to do with them. 108, quarterback Dante Moore from Oregon. Again, another little bit of a projection. Seems to be some smoke about him going back to school. But if he comes out, I think he's got a good arm, very quick, very good in the quick passing game, RPO, good touch on throws down the field. I think there's a clear vision where he could be even higher next year, and he can continue to develop and be a great player, but I have him a little bit lower just because I don't know if he's going to come out, and he doesn't have quite the experience of some of the other quarterbacks in the class. 109, wide receiver Denzel Boston from Washington. Boston looks the part, 6'3", 6'4", 210, big, plays on the outside, downfield ball winner, also a punt returner, but he's been a little bit boom and bust. The booms are impressive, so you can see the vision for if he can develop that consistency, and it's really a reason to take a swing on him. But I think just that game-to-game, in-game consistency is why I'm a little bit lower on Denzel Boston. The traits are all there. Um, the production is mostly there. It's just that it kind of happens in spikes rather than consistently. 110, Jayden Maiava, cute quarterback from USC. Maiava's been very efficient this year, shown growth from 2024 to 2025 in nearly all the areas. He's not a top shelf prospect. He started at UNLV, but I mean, that's one of the things that's a selling point for me. He started out at UNLV in Brennan Marion's go-go offense, and now he's playing in Lincoln Riley's offense. So you've seen him succeed in different kinds of schemes. And like I said, he's been very efficient this year. USC is very good. So Jayden Maiava, if he comes out, I think he'll get a good look at the next level. 111, running back Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. Johnson has come on a lot lately in the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's now, I think, fifth in the country in rushing, but just 3 or 4 yards behind both Kewan Lacey and Jeremiah Love. So he could easily be third by the time you see this video, and maybe even moving up. Not a whole lot to dislike there with Emmett Johnson. The pass pro is not great, but he's caught almost 40 passes this year, caught almost 40 passes last year, so he's more of a pass catching back than a pass blocking back. And like I said, he's over 1,100 yards through 9-10 games, so both efficient as a runner and a receiver. A lot to like there with Emmett Johnson. 112, this is me holding on to my priors. I have Nicholas Singleton. I had him as my running back one coming into the season. It has not gone well. He's kind of disappeared behind Carnell this year. That said, when he has been on the field, he has shown a little bit more ability as a short yardage and goal line contributor, and he's shown in the past the ability to catch passes. He was over 40 catches last year. The offense has not been great at Penn State this year, especially with Drew Aller getting hurt. I think all the talent is there with Singleton. I think he needs to be elsewhere, get out of Happy Valley, and I think he will be happier not being at Penn State any longer. He's done a lot there in his 4 years. So I'm just, this is me projecting and maybe holding on to hope for a player that I had really projected to do something more than he's been able to do this year. So that's the first round. Fernando Mendoza, Elijah Sarratt, Makai Lemon, Carnell Tate, Jonah Coleman, Justice Haynes, Kenyon Sadiq, Dante Moore, Denzel Boston, Jayden Maiava, Emmett Johnson, Nicholas Singleton. That's the first round. Second round, we'll just kind of rip through the second round. 201, Ian Strong from Rutgers, wide receiver. 202, Max Clare, tight end from Ohio State this year, was at Purdue. 203, Roman Himby, running back from Indiana. 204, Nico Iamaleava from UCLA. I think there's a chance he might get out of that situation and see what happens with the league. 205, Katron Allen, from running back from Penn State. 206, Griffin Wilde, wide receiver from Northwestern. 207, Omar Cooper, wide receiver at Indiana. 208, Hank Beatty, wide receiver at Illinois. 209, Jacoby Lane, wide receiver from USC. 210, Mark Gronowski, quarterback from Iowa. 211, Caden Fagan, running back from Illinois. And then rounding out the second round, 212, Devontae Ross, wide receiver from Penn State. So there you have it. There's the 2-round Big Ten mock draft. I'd love to know what you think. There's still a lot of season left. So these players can move up and down a little bit more still. So that's where we are right now with those players. And that's all for now.